Hello there and welcome back to Painting with Martin. Today we're back with another how to play video and we're taking a look at a game called Clans of Caledonia, Industria. This is both an expansion as well as a big box for the main game. This is a game that published by Karma Games and designed by Juma Al-Jou Jou. And I had the great pleasure of meeting both the publisher and Juma at Essen Spiel this year and the game of this game. So thank you very much to Juma and Karma Games so I can show you guys how to play this one on my channel. This is a game designed for 1 to 4 players. However, I'm not going to be covering the solo mode in this video, and I will set up the game for 2 players, but I will be referencing 3 and 4 player setup frequently as well. So let's get started with some setup. Now, I also have a little bit of a cold, so I apologize that I will cough from time to time. I hope you'll be fine with that as well. I also have a single camera, so that means the camera will be moving around, and there will be a little bit of glare, but I will try to minimize it as well. So, in order to explain how Industria is different from the main base game, I need to show you a little bit about setup as well. And then I will also have to say that Industria expansion is fully modular, so you can choose to play which modules you want to play with. And I've actually tried to include as many modules as I could or remembered, and I hope I included all of them so you can see what it's like. And it's really nice because you can actually choose if you want a longer game or a shorter game, depending on which modules you want to play with. Let's take a look at the main game board over here. This is right now set up, and that means we're looking at the center here, and you can see A, B, C, and D in a clockwise order, and it forms a main lock. You can select any player pieces you want, as long as it forms a pattern like this in the beginning of the game. Then you take 4 of these porter tiles at random from the box, putting the others back, and after you selected 4, you will simply put them in where it says 2 players here, and for 3 and 4 you can see where they go. In this case it's going to be over here, okay, and the rest of course put back in the game box. These are all from the expansion as well, by the way, so these are also added to the game. For example, this one here, if you pay £25, you can fulfill an export contract without spending any of the resources on it, which is quite cool. Now, after you've done this one, let's take a look at the other boards here. Well, first of all, we have the market manipulation board here, where you see the prices of all the goods. And this is also quite important. The easy thing to miss is that you will have a 2-side play for 2 players here, and 3 and 4 players on the other side. And you'll set up the prices as such. You can manipulate the prices from the very beginning of the game by rolling dice, and then you will go up or down, or they will stay as they are. But that's a variant, and I'm not covering this video. You can choose to use it or not. And it's moving on. We're having a look at the export contracts board, as well as the main scoreboard, and the passing options over here as well as the glory tokens drawn at random, and you draw 5 of them, placing them out over here. Then you also draw 6 contracts, export contracts, and placing them out in the game board as such. Then you take your glory markers from a respective color. Here it's blue and red, and taking also the markers for cotton, tobacco, and sugarcane, placing them next to the game board. Then over here, this is from the expansion. This is an award tile. It awards the players in the end in a 2-player game. They're double-sided as well, so you'll see that there is a difference. For a 2-player game, whoever has the most basic resources here will actually score 8 victory points, and I place it here next to the game board to making sure that it's not get lost or anything. Here you also have the export refill board, which is also part of the expansion. I also have to say this is also an expansional module. I really recommend playing with both, by the way. This one also gives you no randomness when you draw the export contracts tiles for the refillment over here, but you know exactly what's going to come out. So that's that, and they're refilled from over here. Now let's take a look at the train board over here. That's also expansion. Then you will simply have them set up as following. You draw the reward tiles at random, placing them out in the towns. There are right now 2 cities, Edinburgh and Glasgow, and these are locked from the beginning. I will come back to the train board when I explain to it in a little bit, but you simply take these, what do you call them, these ones over here, these tiles, and these are, let me see here what they called, demand tiles. Yes, demand tiles. You place 2 over here from the box. These are going to be filling in for the ones that you take during the game. and otherwise you place them at random at these sections here. So for example, they're over here, then you simply put them in here at random. Then you take the reward tiles and same thing, you place them in here in both towns, which are these small ones, such as Dumfries and Lanark, and also in the cities as such. Then you will also take these milestone tiles at random from the game box and place them out, one here, one here, one here, and one here. These are for the main cities as well as the tunnel sections, which I'll come back to in a little bit. And then finally you will take your player pieces, in this case red and blue, and place them out these milestones over here in this manner here as well as the train station tile here in the end. Now, these are all the pieces on for the main boards that I've talked about. It should be out, and also, of course, your player boards should be set up as following. They're very self-explanatory as such. So this one should be like this. Now, you will pick a random first player, of course at random, and whoever's first player will actually take, before you draft the clan tiles, which will be one extra clan tile per player. So in a 2-player game, you'll get 3 clan tiles. In a 3-player game, you will get 4 clan tiles. So yours always going to be a selection, so to say. Now, I planned some extra 4 tiles here. I'll come back to this once in a bit. And of course, you'll place the starting bonus tiles over here as well next to it. And also place out the money here. Just make sure that you have it from the beginning. Now, don't forget that each player should also have one of these export tiles next to it. It says 2 players for this one, and 3 and 4 players for this one, regulating the scoring of each one's at the bottom. Now, so you select this random player. I've decided that blue is going to be the first player. So in this one actually has, and the reason why I've done it like that is that there is something called a farmer's market. And the farmer's market adds a nice level of setup when it comes to you. Before drafting clans, you actually deal 1 farmer's market to each player, and they look like this. They're double-sided. So for example, in the farmer's market here, you will be able to sell milk and bread at a significant higher value than compared to the market board. And the other one here that I've selected at random is actually whiskey and wheat, also at a significant bonus when you sell. So the first thing you actually do before you select the clan, and also before you put your main player pieces on the board, which will be 2 workers, you are going to place out these farmers markets, and there are restrictions for that. So the first thing, it must be placed on a land space. The space must have at least 3 neighboring land spaces, and there must be at least 2 spaces between it and any other farmers markets. So why would you want to place these ones out? So I'll come to this one. The first player is going to place out this one like this here, okay, as such. And that means it blocks this tile here, or this hex, I believe it's called. Yeah, 6, a hex here. So no one can place anything here. The next player, he can place his tile. He cannot place it here, based on the rules. Of course, he can't place it in the lock, just for the sake of it. So he's going to place it over here on this section. Okay? That means we place the farmer's market. Now, when you place a player piece next to a farmer's market, you can sell up to 4 of that resource on the market at a significant higher rate. So in here, in this case, you can play, and this is of course from the expansion. If I didn't mention it, I should have done that. Here you can sell milk or bread. So for example, it doesn't mean that you can do that when you set up the player pieces. So in the beginning, you will set up these 2 workers. It can be either 2 woodcutters, 2 stone miners, or 1 of each. And of course, following the normal placements for that. So of course, the blue player is going to place 1 here, and the other one is going to be, let's say, over there. Okay? If he places first worker over here, he was not allowed to sell things from the farmer's market, because it doesn't apply to the first workers you place on the game board. Okay, it's very important. The next one here is going to do the same, a woodcutter and a stone miner. And let's just say he puts one here, well, perhaps not very strategic, but I'm just showing you the game. And one over here. Okay, and you play, of course, when you do that, you pay the usual cost of 6 for woodcutters, 10 for stone miners, plus any underlying costs based on the terrain. Now, when you've done this one, and the farmer's market is there, the next, when you start playing pieces on the board in your expand action, you will simply, so for example, if the farmer's market, just to show you how it works. So for example, say the blue player had one sheep over here, and then he places another sheep, it can be anything else, over here. That means he can now sell 4 milk and 4 bread for a significantly better price of 2 extra pounds for every milk and 3 extra pounds for every bread. Keep in mind, he still needs to have merchants for that. So in this case, he only has 2 merchants. He can go on the export tile over here. So for example, say for example, he had 4, just for the sake of it, and he chooses to sell 4 milk. He had that. Okay, 4 milk over here, hopefully something like that. That means he's going to earn a little bit more than normal. Selling milk is 5 normally, but with the farmer's market, just to show you it again, he will get 2 extra. So selling total of 5 extra 4, it's going to be 20 plus 2 for extra. So that's going to be a total of 28. But of course then this one will drop 4 steps, or as much as applicable. Now when this is done, he will simply place a milk marker on the farmer's market over here. And when someone else places their bread, selling bread of course, then the farmer tiles is removed from the game, and then you can start playing pieces there as normal. Just for you to know. And the same thing applies to this one, but it's wheat and whiskey instead. That's farmer's market. That explains how you do that and set up, and also explain a little bit how the game works as well. After that one, you will simply place your workers on the board, and then you will get a clan. And there are several more clans in the expansion than as the base game. For example, Clan MacLeod here gains 4 extra porch tiles that they can use as a free action, and simply, and they also get an extra shipping range, so to say. Clan MacPherson gets their animals breed when they're next to each other. So cows get an extra one, and also sheep gets an extra one. But they are still lambs and calves, so they're not going to be able to be slaughtered straight away. So for next round. Really cool. Clan Gordon has a silo. They're expert wheat producers. It costs 15 to place the wheat on the board, and they produce an extra wheat when they simply produce things, so that's nice. And if you place your wheat, so for example, let's go over here to the main board over here. So let's say here, he had some wheat, and he can place them in the silo, and that means when they need them, they can simply take them out. The first one over here will give you a free settlement action, so that means, or expand action, but not paying the underlying cost for the terrain. And when you do so, when you use the action, it comes back to your supply, it doesn't go back to the bank. The second one here gets an upgrade, and this last one here gets in either a milk or a wool. And you can always take these out as often as you want, but they only come into this silo in production. So that's a cool way of like playing around with the resources. So that's just to show you what these are not specifically modular for the expansion, but they are new expansions, so to say. You probably wondered, what about this new main board over here? Well, this main board, as part of setup, if you're playing a 2-player game, it's slightly different than a 3- and 4-player game. That means before you draft the clans, during setup, you simply choose to place your train on the board. Why would you want to do that, probably? Well, it can give you a lot of points, and it can also give you a lot of benefits. So in a 3- and 4-player game, you will simply place your main train in any of these stations, but not the cities. So let's say the blue player here will get Well, where will it go? Let's see, he's placing it in Lanark, okay? And you do this, of course, when you play them out. You'll do it in certain turn order. For example, in two-player game here, each player uses the mini train for the color, and when placing trains during the setup, the second player in turn order starts and places their train or mini train on the town. And then the first player in turn order either places their train or mini train in a town, and then the second players can place their remaining train, and finally the first player places their train. No trains can be placed in the same town as another train. So let's do this for this one. So this one does this one, then he will simply go for, let's say that he's placed the mini train in Falkirk, and another one, say, in Ayr. Over here. Keep in mind that you have to put them out correctly, not standing down. And the last one, place it in, say, Aberdeen over here. So that's set up. Now, as an action, because it all relates to actions, when it's your turn, you can take a train action. And that means you can move your train either 1 or 2 locations. Now, I probably shouldn't mention as well that when you set up the main board like this, is that you take all the demand tiles from the game box, place them out in these sections here, and then put the remaining back in the box, except for 2 that you put here in the refill area, very similar to the export contracts. Then you will take the reward tiles and place them in here in the towns and the cities. You will take these milestone tiles and place 4 of them at random from the game box, putting the other ones back. And then you will take all of these milestones as well as a train station tile and put them here in your color. It doesn't matter where they go, but this is designed for 2-player. The other board is for 3 and 4. As you can see, let's see if I can show you. Here in the left section here, that says for 2 players. So back to the game. Sorry about that. I should have mentioned it. My mistake. Now, once you place these ones as in action, now after you've taken your clan. So let's say, for example, just for the sake of it, Clan Gordon goes to the blue player, and Clan McPherson, because he really wants to breed his cows, goes to the red player, just for the sake of it, and the other one is, of course, discarded. Then, of course, it gets the money, and of course, it gets the starting resources here, and here it's going to be 1 milk, 1 cheese, and 1 extra merchant. Coming back over here, so he starts with 2 merchants, he starts with an extra 1. And then, of course, he gets a cheese and a milk. Not the best, but he gets something. Clan McPherson starts with 2 grain and a cheese. And a cheese one here. These ones, little boxes here for the game is really nice. And £55. And £55 for this one as well. Now, let's see what can they do here. Okay, of course, these ones don't go on the main board. Let's put them back just for you to see here. So as a train action, you can move your train. You can only move your train to towns in the beginning. The cities are locked. And also, these tunnels are also locked. You need to unlock them through the game. Now, why would you want to do this? Obviously, victory points, resources, and just sheer fun. Who doesn't like trains, right? So, if you want to move your train, you can move your train 1 or 2 spaces. So, for example, Lanark can go to Kilmarnock, or it can go to potentially Dumfries and then to Ayr. If you pass or stop your movement at another player's train, you have to pay that player £3, and if you can't do that, you can't perform the action. So say, for example, I want to go here to Falkirk, ending up next to his mini train. It doesn't matter if it's the mini train or the main train, but if you move and meet your own trains, you don't have to pay, of course. And you can't, of course, start the beginning in someone else's town. Now, if I meet him here, I have to pay him £3. If I can't do that, of course, I can't make that move. But very importantly, if I do that, I have to deliver this kind of resources here. If I can't deliver this one, I can't simply make that move. So let's assume I had 1 wool. Okay? In this case, I have one rule here. I have a cheese, I have a milk, a cheese, and a wool. And I made my move here. I paid this one resource to the bank, and I can make this delivery. Okay, I take this one off, and it's discarded back to the game board and back to the game box. Actually, discarded back to the side of the board, and I can now actually get this reward here. And the rewards are all listed back in the main rule book. I don't know exactly what all of them do, but just to make sure that this one has a number 24 on it. Let's see here, 20. No, sorry about this. 24 over there. That means 24. This one means the following. Return one field to your player board to fulfill an export contract in your export box without paying any of the required goods or meat. Really cool. That required me to have an export contract from the first place, so probably not a good idea to do that, but just to give you an idea what they do. I'm not going to go through all of these things, what they do. I'm going to leave you to discover them. They're located on page 10 on the rulebook for the delivery bonuses, and of course the milestones are also located on page 9 as well. So, but more importantly, if I make a delivery, I can actually take one of these milestone tiles or milestone pieces and place it next to my player board. Then if I want to, in a later turn, in the same round or in future rounds, I can then choose to place this one if I fulfill the requirements on one of these milestone tiles. So for example, if I place it here in Edinburgh, that means I have to have 7 upgrades on my board, either technology, shipping bonuses, or these merchants. And then I get it. And it also rewards me 6 victory points in the end of the game, and 2 points for the second player who fulfills it. This one gets me 2, 5, 9, and 14 for all these milestones. And I'll come back to the train station in a little bit. Now, keep in mind, when you move the train in a 2-player game, you also have to move the second train. So let's say the mini train goes up over here. Once you do that, you simply flip them to the sides to show that they've been used, because you can only make 1 train action per round. There are 5 rounds in the game, and therefore you're going to be very careful what kind of points or where you want to focus your game. Let's talk a little bit about cities. Now, cities are a little bit different. If I meet the requirements, if I unlock this one here first, this one is unlocked for me, I can then, in a later turn, make a delivery, because this one is now unlocked, this one here, and this one here, as well as this one here. And I can make the delivery here, by of course fulfilling these requirements. 1 cheese, 1 wool, and 1 wheat. If I do that and I move with my train and I fulfill the requirements, and of course I can choose to take the reward, or I don't have to take the reward if I don't want to. That means I will immediately gain 2 victory points every time I deliver to Edinburgh. And of course it's the same to Glasgow over here. And of course this one is now unlocked to me, which is nice. But that's not all. There are also tunnels. And tunnels allow you to kind of like fast track throughout the main game board. You can go, for example, from here all the way over to here to Aberdeen. Now, in order to unlock the tunnels, you simply have to get, of course, a milestone. You make a regular delivery, and you, of course, unlock this one here by fulfilling this requirement. So, for example, if I have this one, I place it over here. I don't remove it, but that means I can now use the tunnels. Every time I use the tunnel, I gain an extra action. What does that mean? So after I've completed my movement or something like that, and I move through the tunnel, usually it would be someone else's turn. Well, no. I get an extra turn to go, say, maybe take an export contract, or expand on the board, or sell something on the market, or something else, which is really cool. And that's that. The same thing goes for, of course, for the opponents. And there are lots of reward tiles over here, but keep in mind you can only gain 5 of these, and 4 of these milestones and the train station, and then you can only do it once per round. So be very careful about it. Plan it accordingly. Now, what about the train station here? If you unlock the last one here, you immediately get to place it on the board, and you place it in someone else's, in like another player's hex. So for example, this guy had it here, and I get to place it here straight away in this section here, for example, here. It can be in another place as well. I just took it as an example. So, for example, the train station, keep in mind it has to be within my reach. So, say for example, I had a shipping range of 1, 2, 3, 4. That would be my shipping range would be here. That I could do that because that would be legal. Otherwise, I couldn't, of course. That means and it contains at least one unit for another player. It doesn't contain a train station yet. It is not adjacent to another space with a train station. So that's, and if I can't fulfill these requirements in the unlikely event, I'll simply have to discard the train station. Now these are actually quite important because it will be good for final scoring. Now, what have I missed? Hopefully I haven't missed too many things. We've done the train station board. We've done the module here for the refillment. There are a few things that aren't exactly modules, but there are a few things that kind of changes the game slightly. So first of all, we can look at this one here. We have a waterfall hex. That means this one and this one is a river, but this one is not. Okay, that's kind of like a nice aesthetics. What else do we have here in terms of like game changing or new concepts? You can have 2 units on the same space. So for some things here in the rules allows you to put another unit on your same space. It also allows you to move units on the map. So certain parts here allows you to move units on the map. So that means that you move from one space to another on the map, and the terrain of the new space must match the required terrain of the unit being moved. So workers are considered in the same type. It can be moved to any space with either forest or mountains. And when moving, you don't have to pay the land cost for the new space. So that's nice. You can also, when you gain a bonus upgrade for your merchants, choose to take back one of your merchants that you have already deployed, say for example on the market board over here, and put it back to make sure that it's available if you really want to. Now, there's only one tile, however, that allows you to stack an export contract tile as such over here. Now, there are some things as well that allows you to trigger deployment bonuses, but they're minor things. Now, final scoring is of course a little bit different. You will do the final scoring just like it's in the base game, but you will also score for the milestone tiles over here, the milestone tiles here as well as of course if you meet the requirements of this award tile. But otherwise, it's basically the same. Now, I have to say one thing here as well. You can see here, there's a little overlay here as well, looks like this. And this one here, when you pass the game in the base game, you gain 16 and 13 for a second player. For this one here makes it slightly more, how should I say, tighter. And you can choose to play this one if you want to or not. I chose to always do this one. I like a tighter game. Now, when of course you are going into the cleanup phase, when you simply have passed and you produce all your resources, of course the new export tiles are coming out from this section over here. So this will be the 2 new ones. There are 2 export tiles that have already been taken. And of course, these new ones as well, all the trains wake up. They wake up over here, like this. And of course, you get new tiles out on the board. So in a 2-player game, only 2 tiles can be fulfilled. So say, for example, this one here and this one here were fulfilled. Actually, we already fulfilled one. Then these new ones will come out and place out over here. Say there, and where was it? There, yeah. And then you will fill these new ones with new ones from the box as well as such. Now, this is a game that I've played a couple of times, and I always tend to play with some modules, but perhaps not all. Now, I also have to say as well that when it comes to some of the scoring tiles here with the glory markers are somewhat different. For example, this one here, you gain 2 victory points for every tile that you have on the board with one of your units, not next to a lock, just to give you an example of what it does. Now, this was a short overview of how to play Clans of Caledonia Industria. I hope I haven't missed anything major. I may have. Please let me know in the comments if I have. The 2-player game is slightly different from the 3 and 4-player game, especially when it comes to the train board, and also the farmers market will make the game slightly tighter. Now, and of course the clans will make the game much different as well. There are several variants to make it slightly simple as well. There's an auction variant as well, and the appendix covers all the milestones, awards, as well as delivery bonuses, port bonus tiles, scoring tiles, and as well as all the clans as well that are different. You can mix and match it as the way you want. Anyways, thank you very much for watching Clans of Caledonia Industria. I hope you have a great day.